It is April 4th, 2021, and welcome to Pineapples and Thorns, a Clash Files podcast focusing on all things Clash. Today's episode is our Questions from the Pineapple Patch, where we focus on questions and ideas that our listeners have submitted.
I'm ready for war, like I've been here before. Feel the sweat on my hands, it's time to play Clash of Clans. Training my troops up to fight, it's gonna be a long night. Toss and turn in the dark, soon the fighting will start. I wanna be a barbarian.
Welcome to this special episode of Pineapples and Thorns, a Clash Files podcast. We're super excited to bring you questions from the Pineapple Patch today. That's super cute. Kat, did you come up with that?
I did.
Questions from the Pineapple Patch. I knew that Butters wouldn't come up with something like that, right, Butters?
Why wasn't I the first guest? Come on. That sounds like something I'd say.
That reminds me, what was that? The Cabbage Patch Kids back in the day? That kind of sounds like that.
Oh,
yeah.
Questions from the Pineapple Patch. Anyway, we have some awesome questions submitted to us, and we want you to submit more questions to us to kind of guide our podcast on topics that we want to discuss. And today is all about Super Troopers, and actually Super Troopers. Super Troops. And actually, Peter was the one who submitted us a question, and we just loved it so much, we decided that we were going to bring him on the podcast today again, because we love him so much. So Peter, how you doing? Good?
Great, thank you. How are you tonight?
Excellent. Everything going good in Clash?
Yes, we're not doing as well as we might like in the SCWL. Tough group we're in, but we're slugging away.
What are you guys in? Champs 3?
Champs 2 now.
Champs 2 and Redthorn. Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
One more level to go before you make Worlds.
Oh, yeah. We're hoping to stay where we are, I think.
How are you doing, Kat?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Any Clash information you can share with us?
Well, maybe during the show.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, just watching the different feeds to see if more details come out about the update. And so far, haven't seen anything too traumatic.
Butters, are you watching the hockey game right now? You ready to do the podcast?
No, I'm right on the podcast. I'm a little disappointed in my Clash day. I was supposed to have a few wars today, and my one-on-one 12 versus 12 didn't pan out second week in a row, and our opponents in our 5x5, they got a time wrong, so that had to be rescheduled. So, yeah, it's good to talk some Clash.
That's disappointing.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's disappointing, but now we can talk about some Super Trooper, the movie, and some Super Troops, too.
That was a good movie. Did you watch that? That's an old movie.
It was.
Yeah.
It is good.
Yeah. So actually,
Old if you're young.
you guys have a big war tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we got two of them now, back to back. But yeah, we play something to do with One Hive Eric's. I don't know he named it or something. I don't know what he has to do with it, but he has something to do with it.
I'll do a quick 30-second thumbnail video and shoot it over to you before you actually do the attacks tomorrow, so that way you kind of have an idea of who you're going against. Does that work?
Oh, some scouting.
So I think it's his Double Barrel clan, if I
think that's
heard the rumors right. So one of the first questions that we got in from the crowd, and I'm super interested in hearing what all of us have to say about this, but the first question that came in is, why is Butters considered a god? And Kat, I don't know if you have any feedback about that.
No comment.
Okay. Peter, what do you think about why is Butters considered a god?
Because every time I see him in Discord, he is asking for another FC, so he has got to be the best Clasher there is.
Butters, what do you think about that question?
Oh, I think it's self-appointed. So,
Oh, wait, that's right. Butters asked that question about Butters.
That's the password to get in. Will be something related to Butters. Either call me a god, or I should be god, or it's just me being an idiot is really what it is.
So I did want to add that we're missing Rusty today. Definitely missed him. So hopefully he'll be back with us on our next episode. But let's talk Super Troops. This is definitely something that caught my interest whenever I came back into the game. I knew nothing about it when I started because I was, back in November, I was upgrading from Town Hall 10 to Town Hall 11. And then all of a sudden on the side, there's this little building that appeared and I clicked it. And then there are all these troops that I had never used before, didn't know much about. And Supercell has said that they're going to pursue more options with the Super Troop. And so we want to talk about that. Do you guys have any specific thoughts about Super Troops? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you have a favorite Super Troop that you like to use most of all? Which ones do you see the most that are the most popular? Kat, do you have any thoughts?
totally in love with the Super Wizard. I'm just really enjoying using that in my legend attacks right now. And I think depending on what Town Hall level I'm playing, there'll be different ones, like Super Wall Breakers, definitely in my top 2.
Are there any super troops that you're not using or you have not used that you would like to get to know better to be able to use more often?
I'd like to play around with the Inferno Baby Dragon. I've seen some attacks using that, and that seems pretty powerful. Saw that being used in the worlds quite a bit, and I've started to see it in some of our various wars against us. Super Witch is also pretty strong, but it takes up so many camp spaces, but it's pretty powerful if used right.
Very true. Peter, what are your favorite super troops and why?
I am also using the Super Wizard right now in Legends. It's very handy, and a lot of people want them for donations. That's a motivating factor for me. And I need the Super Wall Breaker. I've had too many Wall Breaker fails. And then the one I never, ever, ever use is the Super Volk. Even though she's super power and drops that rage spell, just no one requests them, and I haven't pushed that button to try them out.
So if you saw them used more often in war, or maybe you saw them used more often on YouTube or at the Worlds, does that encourage you to try them out and use them more often? Because if you see somebody smashing a base with them, then you would think, oh, maybe that's something that I should use. Do you find yourself doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I want to follow the meta. Try to get ahead of the meta if you can.
Definitely. Butters, do you use super troops at all?
Yeah.
I know that you're a super archer god, but do you use anything else?
Yeah, it depends too, right? It's the value you get from those troops, whether you use them or not. So the super archers in No Siege right now are strong. They're a strong attack. You'll see the super whiz a lot in like Blizzard, so taking them in CCs. Like Kat was saying, super witches for smash attack. So if you can get them in the core, they can do some damage. But same thing as Peter was saying too. That's one thing I don't think I've ever seen the super Vox being used at all.
I've seen a few of them, but yeah, definitely not much. I know that the regular Valkyrie isn't used much in war either. Right before I left the game back in 2016, 2017, Valks were the meta. In fact, bases were being built specifically around trying to funnel Valks into spring traps because they were just so overpowered. Granted, back then, all that was available was Town Hall 11, and they were just destroying bases left and right. And then I guess sometime between 2017 and 2020, Supercell did a nerf to Valks, and now they're not being used anymore, I guess. So yeah, I personally use Sneaky Goblins, and then I typically always have the Super Wall Breaker on. But one of the most frustrating things about Super troops is the fact that you can only have 2 of them up at any one time. So I feel like I have to choose between raiding so that I can upgrade my Town Hall 12 or saving and not doing sneaky gobs so that way I can choose another option such as Super Wiz or maybe Super Giants, which seems to be in the meta now, or give some of these other troops a shot. What do you guys think about the 2 troop limit, and do you think that that's something that Supercell might change down the road? Peter?
I kind of hope they would give us more. I have to choose sometimes between my own attack and what I'm willing to donate. Kat's been really good to me this week. She's done super minions, so I can do super wizards and super wall breakers. So filling CCs for the CWL. Thank you, Kat. I don't see why they won't let us do more. I think there's 11 of them right now. That would be, 225,000 Dark Elixir. That's a big hack, for only worth of everything. But I don't know. I would like to see more.
Something that I heard suggested, actually, that you kind of brought up, Peter, is rather than having to activate the super troop, allow people who have the super troop, allow them to be able to donate it for gems. So right now, in order for a player to donate a certain super troop, they have to activate it, and then they can donate it because it's activated. So I don't know. What do you think about the idea of being able to gem a donation just like you do all your other troops, whether it's activated or not? As long as you have it available, it'd be something that you can gem to your war CCs or to somebody who's going in to do a blizzard or a wizard blizzard or something like that. Kat?
I think that would be good. I mean, I'd like to see something like maybe different options for offensive super troops and defensive. So, you could take these 2 super troops for offense.
Yeah.
But you could also have slots for defensive ones.
Yeah.
Because in war, if you're donating super minions for defensive CCs, well, you might not want to use that in your army comp, but
Mhm.
then you're stuck with it for 3 days. At least they reduced that, but still, you're still stuck with them for 3 days.
Yeah.
So you can't, maybe you want to do a hybrid and you want to have super wall breakers, but you've already got your 2 super troops selected.
Yeah, very true. So maybe have 2 slots for
Yeah.
the defensive option, maybe slots that only can be donated, and then 2 slots for actual attacks.
Mhm.
I think that would be a great idea, actually. Butters, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'd open them up, allow you to get as many as you want. They already take up extra space anyway, so how many different combinations of troops you would use would be limited anyways. You might use 3 at one time. And technically, I guess you can really use 3. You could take some in CC and then 2 your own, could you not? So I think technically you can use 3 of them. So
Right, yeah, for
if
sure.
it was opened up and it cost you more DE, which means you're farming more, which you're playing game more, Supercell wins. If it costs you a little bit more gems to donate them, they win there too. So I actually don't see the harm in opening all the troops. All that's available should be open, in my opinion.
So, Butters, why do you think that they limited it in the first place? Like, did they have a reason for that?
They're super troops or special troops. You got to give them, a little aura around them or whatever. Build them up, I guess. Is maybe it's a thought that maybe they just that's their thinking to make them a little bit more special. But I really don't know what they're thinking. I would open it up, but that's me.
What do you think, Peter?
Yeah, I agree with Butters there. I think they're trying to keep them unique still. Can you imagine what some guy like Itsu or one of those guys
true.
could do with every super troop
Very
you could
true.
dream of? Oh my goodness. There'd be some crazy attacks.
Be fun to watch. That's the thing, though. That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe they could limit it to only 2 super troops per attack rather than only have access to train 2 slots of super troops. Maybe only allow 2 different kinds of super troops in your attack army. And that would kind of go around that option. I don't know. What do you think, Kat?
Yeah, I think that would work. I know they really struggle to keep the game balanced so that you don't have people just like smashing through the scatter shots and tripling left, right, and center. And so that's something that from the different forums and that I've read that they really put a lot of thought into. And that's why they haven't introduced some types of troops, but others they've brought in and they bring them in slowly so that they can see how they have an effect on the game.
True. And I know that they're really concerned with balance and making sure that, like you said, a certain troop isn't overpowering. Although the witches at Town Hall 11, I know for sure, Butters, you would agree that that's
12, 11, 10, 9.
Yeah.
12 down.
13.
13 they're coming in, aren't they now? Like, yeah, I hear this balancing part of it, but I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem that they are. It seems that they're trying to get people to upgrade.
So one way that
I don't know.
Supercell is making it special as far as super troops go is they are only available for Town Hall 11, 12, and 13. And I don't see why they don't make them available at lower town halls. I was watching a video by Echo tonight, and he was stating that one of the bummers whenever Supercell comes out with a new town hall is they don't really do anything for the lower town halls. And there are a lot of people, for instance, who play at Town Hall 9 or Town Hall 10, and that's all that they play. And of course, we know that Supercell wants players to upgrade their base because then they're more likely to buy the gold pass or more likely to spend money. But Kat, do you think that super troops, and maybe not all of them, but maybe Rage Barbarians, maybe Super Archers, maybe Super Gobs should be available at Town Hall 9, Town Hall 10, or below?
That's a tough one because on the one hand, I'd say, yeah, why not? But then that puts pressure on Supercell maybe to do something with defenses at those levels, keep it balanced. So I'd like to see some stuff for the 9s and 10s. They're forgotten and they have a lot of loyal people playing those levels. Like they love playing Town Hall 9 or they love playing Town Hall 10. And there's never anything in any of the updates for those levels anymore.
Yeah. Butters, can you imagine doing Super Archers at Town Hall 9 or Town Hall 10?
Yeah, that's what I was just kind of thinking when Kat said that. I'm going, it would be nice because from up to Town Hall 8, you upgrade pretty quick. So you go through those town halls pretty quick. So I can see not having really anything for them. But once you start getting into the grinds of like 9 and not so much 10, but 9, offering those super troops would be nice for them. But then again, how overpowering would it be? Maybe you could only limit it to taking it into a CC or something like that.
Yeah, interesting. So I know that one of the toughest things that I had to do as a Town Hall 9 was getting Dark Elixir.
Yeah.
And I typically trained a Barb and Archer army, and getting into that Dark Elixir storage was near impossible. And so upgrading my king and my queen were so difficult. And once I reached Town Hall 11 and I started using sneaky gobs, honestly, Dark Elixir was so easy to come by that I have my king and my queen down all the time now. So I don't know, Peter, do you think that maybe just the sneaky goblin, because that's not necessarily something that's used in war? I mean, it can definitely help funnel, but maybe to help these Town Hall 9s and Town Hall 10s upgrade their base a little faster.
Yeah, as long as they want to move, right? A lot of these guys that are Town Hall 9s are Town Hall 9 for life. I was trying to picture Super Archers against the Town Hall 9 and how much smaller that base is compared to, say, a 13.
Mm-hmm.
That Super Archer be shooting one side to the other. That'd be a little out of whack, yeah.
Well, so I know that they nerfed the Super Wizard, and I can't remember what it was pre-nerf. It was something like they had a lightning connection of 4 buildings, and they lowered it to 3 buildings or something like that. I mean, if they want to give a lower town hall something exciting, something to kind of rejuvenate that town hall level, I would think that maybe they could shorten the length of the Super Archer. So rather than going as far as they do, shorten it so that way it actually makes it competitive at Town Hall 9 and doesn't completely destroy that town hall, and it all stays balanced. I don't know, Butters, what do you think about that?
It'd be the judgment to keep it at balance, and that's a tough call. And you feel bad about the 9s and the 10s, but they're gonna get left behind. It's just a matter of timing, right? You get 14 things, you kind of move on from them. So I don't know how much thought process from Supercell is going to go into the lower town halls.
That's true. So I guess in a way you're saying it was great that you have fun with the game at Town Hall 9, but we can't really feel sorry for you because, hey, Supercell wants you to move up, and let's be honest, that's where that's where the game is right now.
And why shouldn't people want to upgrade? Hey, I'm only 12 is my highest. I like these lower town halls, but even if someone like myself that generally likes League more than anything else, the breakdowns are going to change. So those lower town halls are going to get left behind. Like 11s are going to start to maybe get left behind like the 10s did. So you got to go with the times and move on with it. Unfortunately, for some people that really have a lot of fun in a lot of these town halls, you'll still have that community. You'll still have those town hall wars that you can find for 9s and things like that. You can still find them from Town Hall 5 now. So, you'll always have those wars. If you're a big fan of 9 or 10 or whatever it is, whatever town hall you seem to like the most, you'll still find those wars if you want.
Yeah, so Kat, I know that before the cost was more than 25,000 Dark Elixir. I wasn't in the game at that point, but I know that it was more than 25,000.
Yeah.
Then also the time period was 7 days.
Yeah.
Like once you chose a super troop.
It was a week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they lowered that to, is it 2.5 days currently?
3 days.
3 days, right. So what do you think about them lowering it even more, maybe to a 24-hour time period, and maybe lowering the DE cost to 10,000 DE?
I think we will see something like that. The more super troops they introduce to the game, the more people are going to want to switch them up. And you don't want to be stuck with super witches, say, for example, for an extended period of time. And especially when you're limited to 2 different troops, they're going to have to make some adjustments on that. And I think we're going to see something.
Very true. I know that one of the awesome things about Clash of Clans is you can look at a base and you can make your attack plan based on how the base is set up. And Peter, I know that you are an excellent attacker. And I'm sure when you look at a base, you may think, oh man, this would be great for super archers, or man, this may be great for super witches. And you go in to get them up and oh, whoops, you already have 2 other super troops activated. And so you're unable to do that attack because you already have those 2 other troops activated. So what do you think about a shorter time period, like maybe 24 hours?
I think that would be great, actually. I still think use them as you want them. You can buy them any as you like. You want super wall breakers this attack, you just buy them. That would be fine by me.
So I would almost think that 48 hours would be something that they would go to next, just because clan wars typically happen every 2 days. You have a 24-hour prep, then you have a 24-hour war, and so you can choose the 2 super troops that you want to use for that specific war, and then in 2 days you can re-up whatever it is that you want to activate. Although that doesn't necessarily consider CWL, so I don't know, just something to think about for sure. Another thing that we're talking about actually is related to Peter's question, and I want Peter to kind of give his idea about his idea of a super troop. But we know that with the Valks, they made the Valks super by throwing in a rage spell after they are killed, after they die. So we know that they're willing to throw in spells with the super troops. So what other troops do you think that they might create and will throw in a spell in addition to the troop itself? Peter?
Oh yeah, so I was thinking about a super golem. It'd be a great big tanky guy, and then when you destroy him, instead of getting golemites, you'd get a quad quake right there. So whatever wall that golem was beaten on would get opened up. And maybe it doesn't even have to be as high hit points. It doesn't have to be necessarily a bigger troop, but just the activation of the quad quake. That would just be something different, something fun. Try to get that golem to go inside so he dies inside the base.
And that would be super interesting because you would think that you're going to have to release that golem last because you don't want it to die right away.
Yeah.
But then also that would affect base building because you would have to consider the pathing of that specific super golem because when it's going to go down, all the walls around it are going to be destroyed. So that's an excellent idea. Kat, do you have any other ideas about troops that can be paired with spells that become super troops?
I don't know. I really like that golem one. I think that would be really useful. It would free up some spell space for other things. If you're doing an attack with the super whiz attack that you quake open the base, taking a super golem would be really cool. I don't know. What about like a loon that maybe drops a haste or something? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. True. Maybe a super healer will drop heal spells around it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Butters, do you have any ideas?
No, I'm stuck on the golem. I like the golem. You could take it in a wrecker and then in the back end quad quake to get further into the base instead of a back end jump.
That's true. Yeah.
You could drop them on the side so they're flanking for witches or something. So then when they die, they're going to open up the side part to get in there. Oh, the possibility. Yeah, let's just stick with the golem and get it done.
Yeah.
We'll just stick with that and get it done.
Yeah, you heard it first here from Butters.
That's right. Well, I don't think I came up with it. I think I'm enthused about it. We'll put it that way.
So, yeah, I know that the rumors are out there that the next super troop is going to be a super P.E.K.K.A.
Heard that.
And if that's the case, what do you think a super P.E.K.K.A. might entail? Kat, do you have any ideas?
Well, I'm thinking that they may draw from Builder Base because they have the Electro P.E.K.K.A. there, and when it dies, it explodes.
Interesting.
And that can take out a building or something around it. So that would be kind of a cool.
So I am not far enough along in my builder base to have ever used an Electro P.E.K.K.A. Butters, I know that you're an expert on the builder base. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, that's one of the most versatile troops of builder base. Something that probably you should upgrade first. A lot like your queen.
Your queen on the builder base?
Upgrade that. Is that the one you press the button and then a little timer goes? Is that the P.E.K.K.A.
I have
dude?
no idea. Peter, you maxed out your base.
I actually used P.E.K.K.A.s in the hog gliders when I was playing, and they're handy. They get in there and they attack everything, of course, just like a regular P.E.K.K.A. And then when they die, they set off a little bomb. So that could be good. Yep.
So is it like a bomb tower bomb?
Yes.
Is it like a town hall bomb?
It's like a bomb tower bomb.
Okay, and it just does destruction to all the buildings that are surrounding it when it dies.
Yeah, within maybe 2 or 3 tile range, yeah.
So I thought it would be kind of cool if we had a super P.E.K.K.A. that's bigger than normal, and then whenever he dies, he kind of splits up into mini P.E.K.K.A.s. So think Golem now.
Ooh, yeah.
And the only reason I think that is because you have the super P.E.K.K.A. and you have the mini P.E.K.K.A. in Clash Royale right now. And so the super P.E.K.K.A. doesn't break down into the mini P.E.K.K.A., but the mini P.E.K.K.A. is faster, but it still packs a punch. I used it quite a bit in my attacks. So I don't know. That's just an idea.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good idea.
Are there any other ideas that you guys would have? I know that a super hog would be super cool, but I really don't know, other than unless we pair it with a spell idea. I know that hogs are really good paired with heals, and if you have a hog that healed in front of it, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to throw out ideas. Butters, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the troops, trying to think what they'll come up next too. Now, the P.E.K.K.A. is a good idea, but how much space is that going to? Like, they're 25 now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with these super troops.
It'd probably be like 40 or something. Yeah.
So then if you're talking 40 space, it has to do something special or else nobody's going to use it. But nothing's made for the hog yet.
Well, and I know that they came out with the Ice Hound, and the Ice Hound was 40 troop space, and I rarely see it used. Again, it's one of those troops.
Yeah, I never see it used.
It takes up so much. But if you look at the Super Witch, she also takes up 40 troop space, and you see a lot of high-level attacks using Super Witches. So
yeah, it's always the value, right? How much value you get out of that troop space. So the witches, you get it, because if you can get them out tanking with those skeletons in front, they don't go down. You don't lose those witches. The only reason you're going to fail, it's going to be a time fail.
If you have healers on them.
Yeah.
So super troops are definitely something that I know Supercell is going to pursue. Question is whether or not it comes out with Town Hall 14, whether it doesn't. I was actually watching I can't remember his name. He's a YouTuber. It's not God's son. He's the godfather of Clash YouTubing. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Galadon.
Galadon, yes, thank you, Peter. But Galadon, in his video, which he just put out, said that he had inside info that suggested that Town Hall 14 might not be coming out until June or July. And he is typically pretty on when it comes to stuff like that. He says that, sure, they're dropping sneak peeks now, but they have a lot of updating to do. They have a lot of coding to do. And so he said on his video, it's not likely to come out until June or July. And that video was just put out.
Oh.
So obviously we're talking about it, and that's what Supercell wants, is they want their game to be exciting. They want people to be looking, to be playing, to be upgrading. They're getting essentially what they want, whether it comes out in the next couple weeks or whether or not it comes out this summer. Something else that Supercell hinted about were a few new game modes, and I didn't know if you guys had any ideas on what these new game modes might be. Peter, do you have any ideas?
I really like the idea of the Clash Quest. That's that turn-based tactical game. It reminded me so much of Candy Crush, just a different way of playing. My wife loves Candy Crush. I'm still desperate to get her to play Clash of Clans. So maybe this will be the entry game to get her into the community.
Right, and I know that they introduced a couple other games. They introduced Clash Heroes, which I know a lot of people were excited about. I saw a lot of similarities between that and like an RPG like Zelda Call of the Wild. And then they had Clash Mini, which was described as a digital board game. And I was super excited about that because I'm actually a board game addict. I have about 80 or 90 board games in my board game closet down the hall. So I was super excited about that. But I don't know, Kat, what do you think about those new games that Supercell's coming out with?
They all look really interesting. Definitely, I know I'll try them all to test them out. Looking forward to when they're released. It sounds like they're still a little ways away.
Mm-hmm. Well, typically Canada gets in the early release. What do they call it? Beta? Doesn't Canada normally get the beta version?
Seem to.
Usually we get looped in there, but I think right now they're doing beta in Finland and Norway and those countries, and then they'll probably send it over to Canada after that, after they've ironed out whatever bugs they have.
Butters, are you going to play the new games?
I'll probably try them. I'll always try them out, see if they grab my attention, which is tough to do sometimes. It's a short span, so I'll definitely try them out, see what they're like.
If they're 30 seconds long, you'll jump into it?
Yeah, it doesn't grab me 30 seconds, we're in trouble.
So something else that Darian hinted at in his video with Judo Sloth is that they're going to come up with a new game mode that's going to be inside the game. So Clash Heroes, Clash Mini, and Clash Quest are likely going to be games that will come in a separate app that you download from the Play Store or from the App Store. But he suggested that there's actually going to be a new in-game mode. And I didn't know if you guys had any ideas about that. Are they going to upgrade the single player map? Are they going to do something else in game? Obviously, we have Builderman Hall, Builderman Base. That wasn't a huge success, but I don't know, Peter, did you have any ideas about an in-game option that they might be updating?
Now, I listened to that video a couple of times when they talked about the first 3 games, and they were talking to the fellow from Supercell Shanghai, and he said something about Clash Mini, and he said a board game within Clash.
Interesting.
Now, I don't know. I think that sounds a little bit like that's the one that's going to be in the game. And maybe it just got lost in the translation, as it were. You know, a little extra hint, but that's the one I'm betting on that's actually going to be in Clash of Clans, Clash Mini.
So if we look at the other Supercell games that they put out, of course, there's Clash Royale, and then there's Boom Beach. I haven't really played much of Brawl Stars, but a really cool idea within Boom Beach is something called the Mega Base. And I don't know if you guys have played Boom Beach at all.
No.
But a Mega Base is, think of a Clash of Clans challenge where you have to go in and figure out how to take down this town hall and 3-star it, right? Well, with a Mega Base, it's so big that it cannot be taken down by just one player. You have to use the whole clan to take down this base. So Butters may go in and he may take down one portion of the base, you know, with hogs and heal spells. And then Peter may come in behind him with miners and clean up all the trash. Cat comes in with dragons because during the hog portion, Butters was able to take out all the ADs, and then she's able to take out the town hall at the very end. Point of it being not just one player, but it being an organized event to where you have to talk about what portions of the base you're going to take out as individual players, but you have to all work together. Butters, have you ever thought about something like that?
Oh, and if you could do it at the same time, 4 of you got to coordinate your attack. So you're hitting one big, huge base, and you're all 4 are on voice at the same time talking. Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, I actually did not think about it at the same time because the way that Boom Beach has it is you have a 24-hour period where everybody can
To tackle that base.
Exactly, yeah. So everybody kind of takes their turn and attacks whenever you have time. But that would be super cool if you could have multiple people attacking a base at the same time.
Bringing in more of a multi at the same time kind of aspect too. I don't know how difficult. That's just me sprouting off my head with no idea about writing a game or anything. So I don't know how difficult that would be. But even the way Boom Beach does it, that's pretty interesting too. Having 24 hours to rip apart a map with different amount of people would be pretty cool also.
Kat, do you think that would be something you'd be interested in?
I think so, because I know there's been some talk swirling around for a couple of years about something like that, where there would be like a super war base or something that you'd have to get the whole clan or part of the clan involved in order to beat it. So it would involve getting your team together and it's more interactive with the whole clan having to attack. So I think that would be a really neat idea.
So I just had a thought actually. What if you built the base together and you could even do a 5v5? What if you built the base together and then you attack the opponent's base together, all 5 of you at the same time? Or you could even take turns. Like it could even be an esports thing where you bring a base into the esports match. Obviously we have base builders and obviously it would be, I don't know that would work because of the size of the map would have to be. But if we could bring a base in and then multiple people attack that base, and then of course, whichever team gets the highest stars or the highest percentage, or if you're able to 3-star it, then that team would win. I know that they're looking at alternate in-game options, and Clash Royale actually has a 2-player option in their game. So the way that works is both of you have your builder tower, your king tower, I forget what it's called.
Yeah, King Tower.
So you drop troops on your side and your opponent drops troops on the other side. And at the same time, your opponents are dropping their troops, but it's 2-on-2. And I can see that being brought over to Clash where maybe there's one base between the 2 of you, but then it takes 2 of you to attack it at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of leaning towards Butter's idea of multiple attacks going on at the same time and you kind of coordinate over Discord.
Yeah. And the thing with the 2v2 in Royale is that, you need to coordinate with your teammate. Okay, I'm going to bring these cards. You bring this type of card so that you're not both bringing the same deck. So you have different defenses and different offenses.
Very true. My brain is just going crazy thinking about the options that they could have. I know that one thing that was suggested was the possibility of being able to FC with random opponent, similar to how you farm a base now, except there would be a separate queue for people who just wanted to practice war attacks. You push, find a base, and then you have your war army ready to go, your friendly challenge army, and then up pops a Town Hall 12 base and you're able to attack it. Butters, that sounds like something that you would be interested in.
Oh, you would know where to find me. Where's Butters here? Okay, I know where he is. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that would be my Christmas present. That would be waking up Christmas morning for Supercell to come out with that exactly. Hit attack and an FC pops up. You got 30 seconds to edit your army and away you go. No, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Even if they just did that off your friends list, that would be just or game changing.
I already
right?
DM all them.
Not many 11s in our clan.
I already hammer everybody for FC. So if you could open it up just to the whole wild, yeah.
World.
That's yeah.
Yeah. But I think even it would be really nice to not have to leave your home clan to do that, because right now Butters, like, you're always having to hop around looking for FCs.
Or even now I go into the there's FC clans, but if you're old and slow and you can't hit that attack button that quick, you just keep pounding on your screen and there's a dent in your screen because all you're doing is hitting the button because you can't get one in. That would be let's hope that happens.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I try to go to the FC clans as much as I can because I'm trying to up my 3-star game. And it is frustrating because, I mean, like Butter said, you're sitting here hitting the button, trying to attack, and somebody else is taking it, or your internet connection is slow and you don't get it. And it is really frustrating. I think the community is offering this because it's what we want. And it would be nice to have an in-game option where we could practice war attacks on random people who suggested it. Wow. Lots of stuff to think about. Do you guys have any final comments based on what we talked about? Super troops, in-game options. Peter, let's go ahead and start with you.
You know, I've been thinking about our last podcast, and you brought up the owl, and then you also talked about the Boom Beach Flare. I'm thinking
Very true.
if you can get that owl as the, what are we going to call it, the Clash of Clans flare, you drop that owl somewhere on the base, and he flies in, and all your troops congregate there. I love that idea. Really, really neat.
Yes.
Neat way to reorganize and refocus your attack. I think that'd be a fun one.
Butters, I can imagine that you would find use of that with your super archers attack, because so often have a super archer that goes off or two super archers that go off by themselves. If you could recongregate them, then that would be hugely useful for the game, right?
Absolutely. It'd be another thing to concentrate and watch for too. So when to drop it, it'd be interesting. That's for sure. It'd be interesting to see how people would incorporate and use them.
Yeah. Kat, do you have any final thoughts?
I really like the idea of FCing random people. I'd also like to see the opportunity, like when you're doing an attack, that you could adjust your army comp the way they do on the builder base, so that you're scrolling through bases, particularly in Legends, pull up this base and you can't hit next, and you have a certain army trained, and you think, well, jeepers, would be nice to hit this with dragons or super witches or whatever, but I can't change my army because I've got this trained.
Do you think if they did that, do you think there would be too much pull from the builder base? Because essentially, if you could do that, then you're taking away the one thing that makes the builder base different from the home base.
I don't think too many people would cry about it.
Only Butters.
I think Butters would. Yeah.
Let it.
Butters would be so upset.
Supercell, let it die. Just let it have a graceful say. We tried to bring you something new. We failed, but we tried. Well,
It's all right. Let it go.
yeah, it's done now. It's time to say goodbye.
Well, now that Peter's max builder base, there's no point in continuing
right.
it. So.
Well, I just don't want them to say goodbye until I can get my 6th builder on all my accounts.
Just spend more gems.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's right.
Well, so one thing that came out yesterday when we were talking about Town Hall 14 was the fact that there's a possibility that they're going to make the builder hut a defensive building. And that's something that Galadon also mentioned in his video, is he suggested to Supercell that they put a purpose to the builder hut. If, for instance, it does repair buildings as we suggested, if you have 6 builders, you're at an advantage to any town hall that you're facing that maybe only has 5.
Mm-hmm.
If Supercell's looking to get people to gem to spend more money, you would think that weaponizing or defensivizing, whatever you want to call it, the builder's hut would be one way to get people to go over to the builder's hall, the builderman base, and to gem up as quickly as possible, so that way they can have that extra benefit on defense. So I don't know, would that make you run over there and start doing it, Butters? If you could have an advantage?
You'd almost have to, especially league play, right? You're going to max whatever you can max and something like that. So you'd almost be forced to do it. If I could find a way to gem it, then that's what I would do. If I had to venture into builder base and quietly do challenges, I probably would.
The way Rusty does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, definitely super interesting. Let's go ahead and give out shout outs. This has been super interesting, so I really appreciate you guys chatting over this with us. I wanted to go ahead and shout out Fox and Mama Sids. I know that they've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes, and I just want to say thank you to both of them. Kat, do you have any shout outs?
I'd like to shout out you guys. Really made this a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying the work with you guys. So kudos to you both, and to Peter.
Yeah, thanks, Peter, for joining us last minute. We really appreciate that.
I'm having fun. It's good. I'd like to shout out my old guy, Clash BFF, Norma Snockers. Been with Norma for a long, long time. And also like to shout out Brad, or a.k.a. Lee, a.k.a. Space Dog, a.k.a. Foul Play. He gets around. He does a lot of stuff. And I know you shouted him out yesterday, but I'm going to shout out my buddy Raz. He's my real-life buddy. He does a lot for the clan. I dragged him into Clash of Clans. I'm really glad he stayed. Thanks.
Butters?
Wanted just to shout out you guys also having a lot of fun doing this, and give a shout out to the crew. We know the first part of the crew, I just let them know that I'm on Discord. I see their little comments in there. I do see it. So just a shout out that I see you fellas.
You know, Butters, we should have Mama Sids bleep out whatever it was that you said just to kind of mess with the listeners. I don't know. Maybe we should let it go.
Well, we don't want that rating to get put on a ban list. That's all I need.
Yeah, we need to keep it family friendly.
That's always tough for me. So.
Great. I just want to thank everybody for showing up tonight and participating, and thank to all our listeners for tuning in. And as always, send us your ideas on what you want to hear on the show, your thoughts, your questions, your comments. You can reach us on Twitter at KGH Podcast, or hop into the Clash Files Discord at discord.gg/clashfiles.
I'm ready for war, like I've been here before. Feel the sweat on my hands, it's time to play Clash of Clans. Training my troops up to fight, it's gonna be a long night. Toss and turn in the dark, soon the fighting will start. I wanna be a barbarian, I wanna live the life they lead. Standing tall, smashing walls, doing whatever it takes to succeed. I wanna be a barbarian, like I'm never coming back. Ready for war, thirsty for more, leaving all fear and regrets in the past. Countdown starts, it's bleed, I hear the fight. Flashing swords have sung, the war has finally begun. Nervous fingers shake, is this the time I will take? Restarts for my clan, give us a chance. I wanna be a barbarian. Standing tall, smashing walls, doing whatever it takes to succeed. I wanna be a barbarian.